I'm feeling great. You know, I recently just got cleared to do everything, and the coaches and our trainers doing a great job of letting me know when to not overdo stuff, and so I'm just feeling ready to go.
So you can do everything?
Yeah.
As everybody else?
I guess what have you been able to do kind of building up to getting cleared? What have you been able to do through the summer?
Just really being more vocal, starting to try and be a leader, and just talking to guys, letting them know what we do and how we run our program.
Rob, I guess, how are you doing health-wise? Back to 100%.
Yeah, I haven't been all the way cleared yet, but you know, it could be any time within the next couple of weeks or so. I'm getting really close. I'm doing a lot more things every day, so I'm getting close to it.
What's this offseason been like for you in terms of having to deal with that and still trying to improve and everything?
Yeah, it's been different, because it's something I never really had to deal with before. But I've had a good support system with the coaches and the trainers, to guide me through it, and I've been doing a good job with it, I feel like.
Tim, who needs to step up as a leader? Is there, last year you obviously had Yogi. Who will take that role, that leadership role this year?
I think it's still evolving. I think coaches' expectations are for everyone to lead, and I think they do it in their own way. As James had mentioned, he wants to continue to be more vocal. I think Rob needs to continue to be more vocal. You see Thomas's passion and energy, and I think he has channeled that into being more of a leader and trying to teach the new guys and that type of thing. So I would say the older guys, we're very player-driven, and we need to continue to be that way, and I think they do a great job, all of them, of interacting with the new guys that are here.
James, what was the draft process like for you? Where were you going? Who did you talk to? What's the whole deal like?
Really, I just got the idea from Coach, talked to about 4 teams, like Minnesota, Indiana, teams like that, and I just got good feedback from it, and it was a plus.
What's, I guess, maybe the lasting line of feedback? Was there any consistent feedback that you got from all 4?
Really just stay healthy and keep working.
OG, how's this offseason different than the offseason leading into your freshman year?
I'm just more used to everything and accustomed to what's going on and how we do things here.
What specifically is easier now than it was maybe a year ago?
Just all the workouts.
OG, how's your about all the weight you put on? So how much have you put on?
Honestly, like 5 pounds.
Really?
Yeah.
5 pounds?
Yeah.
I was like 25 pounds.
No.
That's probably closer to it.
Now, you guys, Freddie and Ron on campus and in practice, what's it been like, going up against them and just having them in practice now?
Well, they're both like competitors, and that's what we do here. Deron, he always asks questions, and Freddie's always ready to go. So they're 2 guys that I feel like they fit real well with us.
How have some of those backcourt guys been doing, just the newcomers?
They've been doing good, listening to what the coaches ask. They're great players, scorers, facilitators, so they'll fit in well too.
Coach Buckley, with what Yogi meant to this program and the role he had on the court last year, is there going to be an adjustment period for these guys playing without him this year at all?
Well, Yogi was here when we took the job in 2008, or at least it seemed that way. He'd been here so long, and he'd been playing as a starter since he got on campus. Obviously, we'll be different, and at the same time, you don't make up for a guy of that caliber with one guy. You make up for it with your team. We'll have better ball movement, even better ball movement this year. We'll have even better cutting. Obviously, we're going to continue to get better and better at feeding the post because we've got guys that can really spread out and post down there. And not only post guys, but also perimeter guys that can go there. I think we've got a lot of interchangeable parts. Maybe we don't necessarily have that one guy like Yogi that would just completely break you down off the dribble and make those plays, but everybody's building toward that. And at the same time, we want to stick to being a really good passing team and playing good team basketball.
Defensively, what's the key for you guys to kind of sustain what you started last year?
I think number one, getting good shots and taking care of the basketball, because that allows you to get back and get your defense set. Then I think we have to be solid. I think that we've got a lot of interchangeable parts, and we've got a lot of guys that can guard a lot of different positions. So if we can keep people out of the paint, make them take challenge shots, rebound the ball, and then push the ball up the floor and attack on the offensive end, I think we can be a very good defensive team. We're always focusing on the fundamentals and the details, and I think we keep getting better and better at that. And I also think that our collective intent as a team defensively has gotten so much better over the past year. We're going to continue to build on that.
Robert talked about not being cleared yet or whatever. How many guys still have limitations right now in individual workouts for you?
I'm not sure about a lot of the other guys. There's a couple other guys that's dealing with injuries, obviously, but I'm not sure as far as, that timeline of when they'll be back and things like that.
I meant it was for you.
Yeah, but for the most part, though, it's certain guys can't have contact or things like that. But to me, it hasn't seemed like anybody's been injured the way these guys have worked and the way their mentality has been. Rob and James are just two guys that you have to back them off. You don't have to push them out on the court to get them to go back out there. You've got to back them off, which is always refreshing and rewarding. But I think Coach has done a terrific job of navigating around that and working the groups together. And I think everybody's progressing the way that they need to. And we should be in pretty good shape as we get closer to the season starting.
How does Colin come along with that? Maybe for any of you, I know he had the injury early, but also just talking about leadership. He's the senior in this group now. It's kind of his last year. Just kind of how has he stepped up maybe in that regard?
Well, I think he's been a lot more vocal for one. We had guys last year like Yogi, Nick, that would step up and make sure that certain things were being said. And I think, he's doing a good job with that, and also just showing the young guys how the culture is and how we do here.
Coach, how did Juwan Morgan recover from surgery, and how's he doing now?
He recovered very well. I would say that he's on track to where he's supposed to be at this point in time, and he's become another guy, a lot like OG, that those guys are positionless. They're just basketball players, and not only do they have the ability to guard a lot of different positions, they're able to handle the ball. I think at one point in time at the end of the season, Juwan was kind of a backup point guard with where we were with injuries and how we played guys, and he's stretched his game now, and he's really shooting the three very well. And he's another one of those guys you got to back him off, because you know that he wants to get back and he wants to get in the mix again. But he's progressed very well.
Besides the strength and conditioning aspect, what's the biggest change maybe in Thomas from the end of the season till now?
I would say that his perimeter skills have really improved. He's done a much better job of playing more athletically, where he's getting down and he's dropping his hips and he's being more explosive, and he continues to work on that daily. As I said before, I think he's really channeled that energy into more of a leadership role, where he's trying to do more teaching and helping guys that need instruction. And I think that he's made the natural progression that you expect, and I feel like he's very comfortable being here and being that type of guy.
For a guy that I guess plays with as much emotion as he does, what does that look like when he does kind of channel that into leadership and maybe being more of an example?
Well, and these guys can speak to that too. I just think that it helps when somebody who's doing it helps instruct it, or says, here's how I try to do this, or why don't you try it this way? And then you can not only see him do it, but then he's also telling you how to do it. I think what he does a really good job of when we're in drill work, or we set up game-like situations in our drills, he's in line and he's talking to the guy either behind him or directly in front of him before they take their rep, just giving them reminders or different points that they need to look at before they go ahead and they go through the drill.
James, is there any sort of chip on your shoulder coming into this year, having your cut off midway through this year? I mean, how hungry are you to get back out there?
Definitely. I think when the season comes, a lot of people will see the chip.
In what way? How do you think that can manifest itself on the court?
Just because this is what I do, and when it's taken away from you for a while, you get hungry.
I mean, you sat for 3 full months and had to watch it. What did you learn in that 3 months watching?
Well, I went through it before, and when I was out, I learned a lot by watching my teammates, watching film, and just seeing the game and seeing it through a different way.
You know, I learned a lot watching James because I think that physically he did all the things you need to do to recover from that type of injury, but I don't think you can discount his mental attitude and how he carried himself and how he kept persevering and never felt sorry for himself. I think it's a great example for our team, and he was really excited for our team to do as well as we did because he knows full well, and we do also, that if James had played, we would have even been better than we were. And I think that's going to make us a better team this season, having watched him go through something that was very tough and then see how he's come out.
And all the players talked about, you have a very intriguing non-conference schedule, including the opener when you play Kansas. Just how pumped are you guys to play games like that? Anybody? Or all three? Or nobody?
Well, I'd say we're definitely, excited to be playing, the caliber of teams like that. Especially with the type of season we had last year. We just want to, to continue to build off that, and just get better and better. So we'll definitely be excited when the season starts.
I feel like it's good that we get to start off playing those teams out the gate to measure where we're at, and I think that we'll be ready.
I think one thing too, when you look at non-conference schedules as a whole, as we do as coaches and a basketball program, everyone expects you to play the best of the best all the time. But if you really look at last year's schedule, because of some of the teams that we played, it allowed guys like Ryan Burton to play some minutes in those games, and Ryan helped us beat Rutgers at Rutgers initially when James got hurt. And had we only played the best of the best before we got to conference play, I don't know that Ryan would have been able to contribute in that way. And I think it gave him some confidence, and he obviously helped us throughout the season. And I think even as OG started to get acclimated to college basketball at the Big Ten level, I think that helped him as well too. So we look at each game for what it is, and then we try to build on each one, and we want it to prepare us for the Big Ten season, which is always a tough grind, and then also for the NCAA tournament if we're fortunate enough to make that.
We obviously haven't seen Nuker shooting around the games yet, obviously, but how have you seen him maybe develop as a shooter? I know the numbers fell off a little bit as a sophomore. How have you seen him kind of work on that shooting form and maybe get back where he was as a freshman?
We feel like he's really shot the ball well, and obviously these guys shoot with him a lot more than we can. And I think it's just a matter of transferring those makes in Cook Hall to Assembly Hall and then taking it with you on the road. I think that Josh has a great way about him, and I think that he has a great ability to get to the next shot and not focus on the last one. So if he misses it, he can make the adjustment and then make that next shot.
Rob, what do you see from Josh in practice, and what's kind of his skill set that he can bring to games this year?
I think, he's a tough guard for one, fast, quick, shares the ball really well, sees the floor. So I think he'll definitely be a great addition for us.
OG, how do you see your role changing this year?
Same as last year, really. Just play hard and compete in both ends.
How far do you think you've grown in terms of just kind of catching up with the speed of the game and being able to maybe play more minutes this year?
I think I've grown a lot, just from support from teammates and coaches, helping me get through everything.
You went out to California for Adidas Nations. I know. What did you get out of that experience?
I got to learn from a lot of coaches and then see other good players, and just learn a lot from watching them.
Anybody stand out to you in terms of someone you learned from out there?
Like a coach?
Yeah, coach or player.
Yeah, I don't remember his name.
Was it a coach or a player?
It was a coach.
It was a coach.
It was a coach. I think for the Hawks.
Played for the Hawks?
No, coach for the Hawks.
Oh, coach.
I don't remember his name.
Admittedly, some of the way too early NBA draft stuff is kind of crazy, but you're on some of those early lists for the draft next year. Do you pay attention to that stuff? Have you seen that stuff? I mean, is that a goal for you to be, in that draft conversation next year?
I mean, it's a goal. I like to be on that stuff, but I don't pay attention to it.
Anybody in your ear telling you, hey man, you're on these lists?
No.
No.
Tim, you talked about local leaders, but you didn't mention OG. Has he come out of his shell a little bit, or is this what we're seeing?
Well, I think so, yeah. I think everybody has their way, and obviously we try to get them to stretch themselves just a little bit more. What I would say that you don't get an opportunity to see, and it's the reason why we were a really good basketball team last year, is what that locker room's like when nobody's around and it's just those guys. There's a lot of leadership that's shown in there, and there's a lot of learning, but a lot of fun and a lot of camaraderie. And it's one of those things where OG's as big a contributor as anybody. I can honestly say that every day we came in here last year, we really enjoyed it. And there were tough days too, but whether it was in the film room, in the weight room, in practice, individuals, shooting extra, whatever it might be, we all truly enjoyed being around each other. And I think that's a part of leadership too. And I think OG shows that. You'd mentioned that OG, how did you get acclimated to the speed of the game? I think one of OG's great characteristics is that he never gets sped up. He plays at his tempo and his pace, and I think that's very important to be able to play at a high level, at our level, and I think that's why he had a taste of success last year, and he'll have even more success this year. But the only way he'll have success is if he keeps focusing on the day-to-day and not what those draft lists say, which I don't think were 100% correct for this year's draft, were they? With the way they projected everybody, so that's why we just try to focus on the things that are important, which are getting better today and working hard and seeing how things go.
What's been the catch-up process for guys like Freddie and Duran getting campus so late? How have they kind of acclimated these last couple of 2-3 weeks?
Number one, I think they're both competitive. I think they're both very hard workers. They're very receptive to instruction. So that, like they said, Duran will ask questions or he'll listen. Freddie would say to you, this is new to me, this is different, but I want to learn, show me how to do it. So I think that's important right there. Obviously, the conditioning and the pace of things, it takes a little while for them to catch up, but I think they've done a really good job of that. And then as they do get into that playing type shape and the pace that we go at, I think then their skill level is going to continue to develop and grow.
Was it a challenge for Thomas not having a guy like Duran on campus, as someone not having a big guy, not having Juwan cleared, ready to go for them? How tough was it for Thomas to kind of stay at it with guys who were challenging with the size and the skill?
Almost the opposite in regard to, I thought it was better for Thomas to play against the smaller, quicker guys, because that's where he needs to continue to get better and be more athletic. So I don't think that was as much of a hindrance. But obviously, those two guys are going to make each other better by battling in practice, but then they're also going to be able to battle together too, which I think will make them very good players.
Anything else? I was going to say, Assembly Hall is almost done. How anxious are you guys to really participate or work in that environment?
Well, I'm really excited to see it. They've been, working on it for a long time now. So, the sooner the better for me. I feel like, it'll be really good for us in the program, and I'm just excited to see it.
Same here. I think it'll be good for the fans too. Something for them to look forward to.
Yeah, what they said.
All right, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.